All right. We are back for another edition of the Astro Weather. I am your Astro Weatherman, Robert Phoenix. And what's happening? We have some sunshine breaking through here in Hill Country, Texas, and we've had a little bit of rainfall, and I can start to see the tiny shoots of grass, the beginnings of new life, the eternal cycle renewing itself right before my very eyes. I hope you're experiencing something similar. Anyway, let's see who's here and do a quick little roll call. And we'll jump right into the weather. It's good to see all of your faces in chat. You know, the thumbnail faces, as it were. And by the way, I had a great locals Zoom meetup on Saturday with the crew. It was exceptional time and lots of great shares, and we'll be doing more of that for sure. And looking forward to it. So everybody that participated, thank you for doing that. And we had a surprise appearance from Chelsea Tantra, and she was awesome. We're going to get her on the Sunday night show in a couple of weeks when we go into Aries. We'll start to talk about this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which is going to change your life. How's it going to change your life? Well, you'll find out. My man, DJ MC, Michael, you must have chimed in right after I posted this, because I'm seeing 1:32 a.m. and I think I finished programming the show sometime about 1 in the morning. One of those things. Good to see you, my man. Julie Sunshine. 333. May the day get better with each passing moment until it blooms till the best day ever, and so does. There we go. That is what I'm talking about. That is the eternal return. The eternal return. And it's our turn here in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes. Those little shoots of grass. Julie, they agree with you. My man, Lyle, I got a weird vibe about this week. We're going to get into the micro of the macro over on 15, and the vibe is definitely strange. The dust up in DC, which is what we're going to call that Friday event, definitely changed the energy of the world, didn't it? Holy smokes, yes. And more high strange on the way. Good to see you, Lyle. Janice Phillips, what's happening? What's happening? Liddy Lou. The electric goes off. Sirens are in the wind. Oh, yeah, we had big wind here. Big wind. Sue's waiting for Cyclone Alfred. Now, that's down in Queensland, east coast of Oz. Cyclone Alfred. Somehow that doesn't sound too daunting. When I think of Alfred, I think of the butler in Batman. And he was Alfred wasn't that intimidating. Although I think Michael Caine made a very good Alfred. But there was Alfred the Great at one point in time. And he was actually a very intimidating fellow. A name that's sort of gone the way of history, Alfred. And Sue, I hope Alfred is more like the butler on the Batman series than Alfred the Great. It leaves everyone intact. Let's see who else we have here. My man Seeger, what's happening? Good to see you. Barbara Boots checking in. Randy Hedetta. Charlie. Hey, Charlie. By the way, I heard about, on Sunday night, I didn't really interact with chat very much because I was deep in the bowels of the Poseidon adventure, and I heard about your wife, and I'm so sorry. And I really, it's hard, man. It's hard as all of us are approaching this age where we start to lose people. And it's very, very difficult, especially the ones that are closest to us. And I know that you have a pretty, we'll use the word tight or small social circle. And I'm very sorry, old Charlie. You can, there's a number on my website. You can call that number and then it rolls. It will roll to my cell phone. So feel free to call it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Scott Jerzik, what's going on, Scott? Masumink, checking in from LA. Today is Mardi Gras. Today is Fat Tuesday, right? Yeah. Actually, my best Mardi Gras was on Ash Wednesday. And that's when I saw no, that was a couple nights later. No, my best Mardi Gras was Ash Wednesday. Boy, did I put one on that night in Seattle. Queen Lisa's here from sunny Florida, road trip. You know who that is? It's darling Christina Jerzik here, Jackie Delario. Donna Eve. Hi, Donna Eve. Lena Winkler. Malia DeAngelis. Gaia Travelog. Lynette Jardine. Mad Maxine. What's going on, Lynette? Good to see you. Soul Traveler, Green Eyed Crow. Devin Dewar is with us. Hi, Devin. Big Dave Sullivan, Moira at NYC. Mia. Hi, Mia. Oh, thank you. Good to have you here. Let's see who else do we have. There's Janine. Hi, Janine. Moonsprout. My man, Steve. Zarelith. Immortal. I think, we're going to do a show tomorrow night again. That might be on the calendar. Steve, you got to text me, brother. Remind me. My Endless Road. Hello, hello. Maya Rose from Mexico. Lisa M. White. The Law is in the house. Meow, meow, kitty poop. Helian Heart Rosie. Tracy F. Misbehaving too. Oh, this is so good. Let's put this up here for Janine. I want to thank everyone for your prayers regarding my granddaughter. She's pulling through the darkness 1 minute at a time. Time is a teller of all tales. May God cradle her and love her in her moment of distress. And may she be open to the healing love that lies therein. And I truly mean that, Janine, with all my heart. Renee R., what's happening? There she is, the lovely and talented one, saving Austin one tooth at a time. Scrubbies, Tamara's here. Excited to binge watch the new Meghan Markle lifestyle series. No food spa. Oh my God. That is funny. That is really funny. Every Tuesday is Tuesday to me. That sounds like a song. I like that. Claire, we're going to hook it up. I'm going to get back to the email. I've been so busy. Man, let me tell you about yesterday. Let me say hi to Harriet. Let me do a little hey, and Tammy Lynn and Laura E. My man, Whit. Whit, I'm going to give you a public instruction here. If you can send me your pictures, one picture at a time, that would be helpful, because I wanted to use one of them today and I couldn't get it off my cell phone. And I'm not a Luddite. I know how to do these things. So if you just wanted to attach those pictures, one picture at a time on my cell phone, I'll use one of your morning pictures with. Let's see. Sigurd, I legit have starlings nesting in a discarded boat in the garden. It is the most cottage core. Cottage core. Is that a new genre? Cottage core? I like it. Cottage core. That's good. Let's see. Artist Seer Taurus Moon has given me a good appetite. Yeah, I get that. Lepetius is up early today, NorCal. She's catching it live. Kelly B, there's Tom. James Morgan, Captain James Morgan. Good to see you, Susan. Susan's here. Boy, we got a great crew in the house today. Night's Light and Charlie's back. Good morning. You bit your thumbnail photo at me, sir? No, but I do bite my thumbnail. Neil Smith, our guy from Wisconsin. What's up, Neil? Hanging laundry. Boy, we got a crew here today. All right, let me get into this. Let's get into the weather. You know what happened to me yesterday? I slept till 11 o'clock. I mean, that is very rare for me. I never really do that. It's very rare when I sleep that long. I think I slept for about 10 hours yesterday. Crazy. But I think I needed it. But then normally I don't have clients on Monday because usually what happens is I do the Sunday night show and then people sign up and they get readings. And so Monday, I'm usually booking people, which is what happens. And yesterday I had 2 Monday readings because it was just how it was going to work schedule wise. And they were really good. They were really good readings. I mean, it was, did the everything. I love the everything reading. But it was, it was like 5 hours, almost 5.5 hours. So I got up late and then I jump into these readings and then it's time to hit the gym and then it's done. That was my day yesterday. So the early bird gets the worm, as they say. All right. Speaking of that Taurus moon, there we are. It's conjuncting Uranus. And we've got some nice sextile action going on here, right? We got a sun-moon sextile. We have a Saturn-moon sextile, Saturn-Uranus sextile. I like the energy today. The energy is grounded, but it's bouncy. Today is bouncy. It's bouncy energy. I was doing that last night because I've been working with this trainer and I was doing sort of like this almost like bouncy football drill, which I haven't done in years. By the 3rd rep, I was like, oh yeah, I remember my body works this way. I forgot that. So yeah, I kind of got into the bouncy energy. Today's bouncy. Some of you people actually do bounce. Some of you have those little trampolines, which are supposed to be really good for you. But the energy is bouncy. And I think a lighthearted approach amidst the heavy weather, and right now we got some big winds kicking up back here, but a lighthearted approach amidst the heavy weather goes a long ways, a very long ways. Right? The Moon-Uranus conjunction is a bit quirky. It is a bit quirky and a bit bouncy. So if you have any desire to allow your eccentricities to emerge, today is one of those days. Allow them to emerge. Let other people bounce off of you. I would say there's more levity than gravity today. Yes, more levity than gravity. If we're talking about Earth sign, right there with Moon Uranus, keeping it light, as they say over in England, taking the piss out of it. Today's taking one of the piss out of it sort of days. Because there is a very solemn energy that's brewing over here with Sun Saturn. The closer the sun gets to Saturn, the more serious things become. Oh boy. Yes, indeed. But there's an offset today with all this seriousness. So my advice to you, get your work done early and get out and play. It is Mardi Gras. Now, you don't have to go out and mix it up with the crowd, although maybe that's something you might enjoy. But the only crowd I'd probably mix it up with would be in New Orleans. I've never been to New Orleans Mardi Gras. One of these days I'll do it. I was there on Halloween, which is almost like Mardi Gras, but a little... I think Halloween in New Orleans is very fitting because New Orleans has that kind of voodoo vibe. So Halloween has shall we say, a lot of spirits partaking in the festivities. literally and figuratively. But we'll have plenty of time for that gravity. Oh, that's coming. That is coming. That Sun-Saturn conjunction. We're about 7 days, 8 days out from it. So you go out and have some fun now. I guess put the ashes on your forehead tomorrow. And yeah, I guess that means that don't we go into Lent as well? We have a very late Easter this year. So kick out the jams, motherfuckers, and then straighten up and fly right, because there's going to be a very sobering period ahead of us. Very, very sobering period ahead of us. Mercury's gone into Aries. And what is the characteristics of Mercury in Aries? Well, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. And then you realize, oh, maybe I need some help. Today's a good day to go shop at IKEA and get your IKEA furniture, because with the Mercury in Aries, you'll convince yourself that you can do it. And guess what? You just might be able to. It's all about state of mind, right? If we look at Mercury, what are we initiating here? Well, before it goes retrograde, of course. We're talking about state of mind, and the state of mind is can do. Can do. This is a can do state of mind. And I would embody that wherever Mercury is in your chart. If you don't know your chart, go to astro.com, put in your coordinates, figure out where the Aries cusp is on your chart, put Mercury in there and say, I can do this, right? I can do it. Yes, you can. Now we do, just by, I believe, degree, right? We got a little square action going on with Mercury. Nope. The square action is Venus. It's the Venus-Mars square. Yes, Venus. Now, Venus is about to go retrograde fairly soon, but today is spicy. It's interesting because both of them are in detriment. Mars is in detriment, and Venus is in detriment. And I would say the best course of action, if you get into a bit of a conflict or get into a bit of a row, somebody needs to give. Somebody needs to give. And in most cases, it's probably most cases, it's probably going to be you that needs to give, right? Something needs to give here, but it is spicy, right? This is very spicy energy. This is a very good makeup sex energy, by the way. So if you have that kind of frictiony, tensiony dynamic, well, it can pay off for you a little bit. Venus is within hailing distance of Chiron, but it's not quite there. And by the time it gets significantly close, we're into that retrograde with Pisces and a lot of soul searching that's connected to our relationships. I don't think it's a great time to start a relationship right now. Although if you do start it, you'll be tested early and your relationship will be, your relationship will have to you in the relationship, you'll have to figure out how to weather the storm and whether it can actually weather the storm, right? And that's going to be part of this Venus. And this Venus retrograde, so I like Venus in Pisces. I think it's a nice placement. And it actually might cool things off a little bit, because right now things are hot in the world. There's a lot of tension. Oops, see that? See how that happened? It accentuated the tension there, right there. Yeah, there's a lot of tension, not just in interpersonal relationships, but diplomacy. Like, fuck diplomacy. So the Venus retrograde going into Pisces might actually be pretty good. However, the problem is that once we've activated the tension, let's go back to Friday, right? White House, whatever you think of it. And so from what I've heard now, this is what I've heard. what I've heard, um, Zelensky had made a deal already with the Russians for whatever minerals there are, and most of the minerals are in the Donbass area, which is occupied at this point by the Russians. So that means if the English are going to get the minerals, that means you're going to have to get the Russians out. And that was the deal, and that deal was already made. And apparently the Trump people knew that that deal had already been made. And so at that point, Zelensky knew that he was not going to play around with Trump. He'd already had a deal. You didn't have to sit there and, take JD's. You didn't have to take it from JD. But then Trump and his people knew. So it was like, okay, we know that you're not doing a deal. You know that you're not doing a deal. Now, you may not know that we know that you're not doing a deal. And it's like, well, let's have this anyway. And we're going to use this to kind of smoke you out and expose you, which I think was probably a reasonable strategy. Although there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, have a fetish for this little twerp. But anyway, that Venus retrograde in Pisces also has, it's got a little scorched earthy right now with Venus in Aries squaring Mars. And it retrogrades into Pisces, and it's sort of crawling back into the victim cave. Oh, what do you expect? You hurt my feelings. My feelings are hurt. Can I please get some sympathy for other people? That's Venus in Pisces coming off this hot Venus in Aries. But if you're conscious and self-aware, the Venus retrograde in Pisces can actually be really good. You can, like, forgiveness is a much easier task, or it's a much easier kind of approach to life than forcing it with Venus in Aries. And the Venus retrograde in Pisces will do that. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you could actually, it's a kind of a cooling off period. But on the other hand, there is also going to be a tendency for people who have been scorched to play the role of victim and try to get sympathy for whatever they've done, or whatever kind of interaction that has been perhaps a little too forward and a little too out of line, right? So it would be interesting. We're going to see it. We'll talk about it. We'll live through it. Juno, remember we saw Juno go to 0 Sagittarius? Well, it's up there at 1 Sagittarius, and is the birth of new philosophical and high-minded ventures. That's right. Feed your mind. Feed your mind good stuff, right? Good mana for the brain. Pallas chugging ahead at 5. So we're just doing a little bit of an asteroid check here. We got Ceres at 3. So all the asteroids, with the exception of Vesta, which is at 17, they've all kind of transitioned into new signs. We got a Pallas sextile with Juno. That's pretty nice, actually. Of course, Pallas gives you the ability to have pattern recognition. And it feels to me like being able to recognize where new opportunities are. And even in a world where everything seems like it's in sort of this entropic decay, there are still new opportunities for people. I know. You know why I know? Because they always come up on my YouTube feed. Hi, I work these 5 part-time jobs, and I make over $100,000 a week. I swear to God, these are like the new videos that I'm getting on YouTube. Anybody else getting these YouTube videos? Hi, I've learned how to use AI, and I make $100,000 a year. It's the new thing. It's the new thing. It's called staying alive and hacking the system. And yeah, you can do that. You can do that. Be open to new opportunities and fresh starts. And with Sagittarius, there's always a can-do attitude. That's right. Bless you, Tom. Tom just sneezed. Mars is slowly moving forward. It's gone direct. So as it moves forward, it's going to move closer into that trine with Saturn, which I like in terms of work and getting things done. Now, here's the catch here. You gotta get into a flow, right? Because Mars is in Cancer and it's a water sign, and Saturn is in Pisces and it's a water sign. So you have to be able to get into a flow. And once you find the flow, you just work with it. Just stay with it. Stay with the flow. Stay with the flow until you kind of run out of whatever energy or steam, right? But then you recharge. This is very important with Mars and Cancer. It's the recharging part. You have to recharge. It's not on. It's not constantly on. So find the flow, recharge, and then go back again. You get a lot done. You get, especially if you're creatively motivated. It's very good for creative work. Also, in terms of more domestic work, like around the house, you can get a lot done as well. Your property, your backyard. If you're in the homestead world, like people like Janice, this is a godsend. This Mars Saturn trine, especially if you get family members to chip in vis-a-vis Cancer, it's even better. So remember, put a bounce in your step today. Right, put a bounce in your step. Bring a little levity to the gravity. It is Mardi Gras, and tomorrow we can all atone for our sins, the sins of others, and then we go into the Lent mode, and I guess we give something up for 30 days. That's up to you, but have some fun today. Have some fun today, and when it comes to work, find that flow. Get into it. Okay. All right. I don't have any major mundane predictions. Although I always feel like I should, because if I don't have a mundane prediction and somebody else has a mundane prediction, I'm going, shit, I could have seen that. I should have said that. But I'm not going to go there today. All right. Let's talk about a little True Hemp Science. And we'll get into our star of the day. Well, we're moving right along today, aren't we? Nice and economical. There's our little ticker. Let's go over to our star of the day. Okay, first of all, let's talk about True Hemp Science. And True Hemp Science is your one-stop shop for all things CBD. And I've said this over the last, 4 or 5 days since I found out about this. But there is a bill, SB3, going through the Texas legislature, which basically wants to eliminate CBD growers and sellers. And it has to do with the very small, minute amounts of THC that is in CBD. Texas is really weird this way. Like, I'm okay with Texas not being down with gambling. I'm okay with that. But I do think that at the very least, the CBD should be available. And I don't know, I think medical marijuana, which I don't really have a problem with per se, but yeah, that is a long bridge to cross for this state. And for them to even have had CBD, I remember when I came here to the Hill Country in 2018, I used to go to this health food store on Main Street, and that's where I got my CBD products. And they just had a few near the front of the store, the checkout. And this is a true story. And they had these how would you call them? They were like these plastic syringes loaded with CBD. And then if you, I guess, were vaping, you could vape them. People do vape CBD, by the way. I wouldn't recommend it, but people do that. And this young gal got pulled over by a cop. And he wanted to know what that was. And she said it was CBD. And he wanted to know where she got it. And she told him. And the cops went in and raided this health food store and took all of their CBD. Now, this was probably 2018. 2018. Um, oh, I just got something spicy here on Gene Hackman. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this afterwards. And they took all the CBD from the place. This is Texas. I'm just telling you, this is Texas. And then it wasn't long after that it wasn't Trump's ordinance. It might have been Trump's ordinance, but I think about 3 weeks later, they returned all the CBD and they were able to sell it again. That's just Texas. Texas is so weird in that regard. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is because they want to ban CBD. And how does this connect to True Hemp Science? Well, by buying the product, you are helping Chris send some of that money to the CBD lobby, which is there in Austin, doing their best to fight back against these assholes that want to take away his right to do business. So if you type in 15MINS and you spend $100 or more, you will get a goodie bag, which is an order within an order with your order, and you will like the goodie bag. Trust me on that. Nice bonus. So 15MINS, $100 or more, and know that part of your dollar is going to go to Austin to defend his and every other CBD purveyor's right to sell here in this state. So it's the least you can do. $150 more gets you free shipping, and there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. It is Barbara DeAngelis. And it was a little slim pickings, I have to say. It came down to my three candidates were Vivaldi, Vermont, and Barbara DeAngelis. And I chose Barbara DeAngelis because there was a time in my life where I kind of had a crush on this woman. You know, I think it was back in the 90s, and she was doing like these infomercials. And I think she just broken up with John Gray. And I was like, I think I can have a shot with him. I think I can have a shot with that woman. Anyway, what's interesting about DeAngelis is this is a person who's actually really living their chart. And I'll show you why. First of all, she has been on the circuit for quite a while. When I say the circuit, you know what I'm talking about. Oprah and Chopra. They should have a reality show. They should live together. Oprah and Chopra. Anyway, Oprah, Chopra, Tony Robbins, you know the crew, right? She's kind of in there. And she's been doing this for quite a while. She's had call-in shows. She's been very successful, you know, an author. I don't know if anybody's ever really delved into her material, but you can see here that she is, you know, a natural communicator. She has a Jupiter, Sun, Mercury conjunction, right? All in the 11th house. So she is kind of gifted to work with groups of people. And this is why I say she is living her chart. She has her true node in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter. So to me, this is reminiscent of having kind of a ministry, right? And She's very eclectic in her spiritual approach. I think she leans a little heavy into the Hindu world. But, what you're seeing here is really somebody who's activated. And she's got that Jupiter Uranus trine, which is kind of it's like, it's a trine that adds some genius to the chart. And she's got a Sun Uranus trine and a Mercury Uranus trine. So she's always trying to break new ground. The only thing I've ever seen her do is like talk in her webinars or infomercials. And without reading any of her books or going any deeper into her material, I think she's pretty legit. I mean, based on her chart, I would say she's pretty legit. Like, she might have some really interesting insights. And she's obviously very good at sharing them. Now, one of the things that she's known for is being the paramour of John Gray. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and she offers up a lot of relationship advice, right? Well, in her chart, she has that Venus-Mars conjunction, which is really interesting. And her part of fortune is sitting right between the two. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, although she might be from Mars herself with Venus and Mars. But nonetheless, right, that Venus-Mars thing and the connection with John Gray, boy, that was a sweet spot for her in that chart. And what do all those Aries planets do? Well, they oppose Saturn in Libra at 0 degrees. Saturn is exalted in Libra. And so in terms of relationship work, Saturn is set up quite nicely. So you can see this is somebody who's living her chart, right? Her moon is on the midheaven and it's in Aquarius. She's got Pluto coming up here on her moon. That'll be interesting. I wonder if Barbara DeAngelis will be kind of rediscovered and reignited here with this Pluto moon conjunction. But as a moon person, every now and then people that have moon in the 10th house kind of wind up dealing with a little bit of scandal in some ways. And not that it's really scandalous, but both her and John Gray got their doctorates from Columbia College, which is no longer even in business. And it was in, I believe, San Rafael, if I'm not mistaken. They were living together. And I'm not saying that it's kind of come up a little bit, like maybe her degree, her doctorate might be just a little bit sketchy, but she has one nonetheless. And I do believe that, with the moon on the midheaven, she's going to appeal to both sexes. Women would generally like her with the moon here, but men would also notice her as well because that's the nature of the moon. And she has a moon Saturn trine. So she has a little bit of gravitas. I think she has a very interesting chart, actually. And when I see that Venus-Uranus square, Venus in the 12th house, how would I describe that? Okay, it would be like if a man couldn't keep his pecker in his pants. She kind of has that with that Venus-Uranus square, Venus in the 12th house. So that's, of course, Venus in the 12th is, secret affairs or hidden liaisons, right? And, the Venus-Uranus square is like usually with people that are kind of outside the zip code a little bit. I think every now and then, there's probably been a period in her life where Barbara DeAngelis, how do I use this without being pejorative? Let's just say that every now and then, Barbara DeAngelis might have dated, and I use that term loosely, outside of her zip code, if you know what I mean. Right? If you know what I mean. And she's got that Venus-Pluto trine. Now, one of the things, I'm going to be honest about Barbara DeAngelis, like, I do think she has some sex appeal. And it's the Venus-Mars conjunction, and it's that trine with Pluto, right? and having sex appeal and charisma is never anything to sneeze at. It can be very, very helpful. But even so, I do think that there's a there with this woman. And I really haven't delved into much of her material. She's very prolific. She's written a ton of books, right? She's had a ton of speaking engagements. She's taught at the Omega Institute. So I mean, clearly she's getting a ton of mileage out of her 11th house. And she has some, I would think that she would have some interesting insights with Jupiter, Uranus, Sun, Mercury. I don't know, maybe some of you out there have gone to her webinars or seminars or followed her work. If you have, leave a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think of Barbara DeAngelis, real deal or not. Have you gotten anything out of her? She reminds me of a little bit. She reminds me of the female version of Wayne Dyer. Because Wayne Dyer had kind of a similar approach, very eclectic, kind of working on top of other people's work, reinterpreting it and giving his own insights. She reminds me a little bit of the female version of Wayne Dyer. That's my take. That's my take with Barbara DeAngelis. All right, there you go. Your True Hemp Science star of the day. The former partner of John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And perhaps it was this relationship with the Venus-Mars conjunction that catalyzed that seminal work. All right. The comment that came through with Gene Hackman, let me just see if I can get to this. It said, great show Sunday. Here's another perspective. I found this lady during the worst Catherine saga. I resonated with her. You are a tarot expert. What do you think of her work? Was Gene Hackman murdered by an angry, illegitimate son who Hackman hid and abandoned his mother? That's quite possible. And that is quite possible. Because when we looked at Sunday night's show and we put Mars on Gene Hackman's Pluto, and then that Mars is in the 5th house with children, that's quite possible. And Gene Hackman was known to be kind of a prick. And it would not be out of the question with him being sort of a cool and detached Aquarian to not have any contact with a son whom he had sired out of wedlock and had no connection with, even though they probably knew each other. I would not rule that out. I wouldn't rule it out. The mystery deepens. All right. Thanks for being here and being a part of today's show. Look, I'm leaving with 14 minutes before the top of the hour. Today was economical. We got to it today. So I'm not going to stretch this out. In TV, when you're presenting and they you need to burn more time, they go like this. Like they have a stage manager, right? The stage manager does it. Or if you're running out of time, they go like this. Wrap it up. So right now, the stage manager is, you're good. You're good. And guess what? You are good. These are my high fives to you. High fives to you. High fives to you. Go out there. Have some fun. Put a little bounce in your step today. Tomorrow, you can always repent. You can always repent tomorrow. All right. Join us over on 15 minutes. We'll be tracking the great debacle, which is known as this world. You won't want to miss it. Take care. Take care of each other. God bless. I love you all. For now.